We couldn't have an exhibition that talked and thought about the Missouri Bicentennial without a focus on jazz music. This work is of Count Basie, who was a musician from New Jersey, but got stranded in Kansas City, which actually happened quite often. Like the bus that would take you to Chicago would need to stop in Kansas City and artists would get stranded. So he played with several bands within the city, and then it was his time in Kansas City that inspired his Kansas City swing. And then this work is They Have the Right to Sing the Blues. Blues music was started after the Civil War, and the idea was to give sounds that related to the joys of Black experiences, but also the pains. And so as we know from history, oftentimes women are excluded from many historical narratives. So what Frederick James Brown did was he highlighted several famous blues singers. Also in this space is Terry Dixon. This work was made in 2018 and collected in 2018. So wonderful way to show that the museum is continuing to support artists by adding them to our collection. So there's this work here, and then behind us here, this striped work is by Sam Francis. And again, both of these are looking at and talking and using the sporadic nature of jazz music as inspiration. Also in this space, as we talked about, was the connection to Mexico and thinking specifically about migration and immigration to the country. So I'd like to talk about this hung glue piece. What we did was ask each of the advisory committee members to think of themes, and then we shared with them our entire collection. So there were several instances of overlap. Hung glue was thinking specifically about Chinese people and how they've migrated. When Lee and Dr. Bennett saw this, they were thinking about people of Mexican descent, Mexicans who have migrated, and then Eleanor and Dr. Wildcat were thinking about the forced removal of Native peoples. Then we will end our time in this gallery in front of this work by Jose Padilla. Jose Padilla as a person is Cuban, and he's really interested in narratives and conversations that focus on African, Latin American, and Native traditions. And he likes to really mix those experiences to talk about our interconnectedness and our shared stories and existence. And so it was a really nice way we felt to end the theme that was talking about, the connected nature of Kansas City as it relates to jazz, cities in Mexico that are also UNESCO sites for music, and just really thinking about the ways in which we're connected.